Hello guys and welcome to another video, and this week we got daily race B at Dragon Trail, and yes, that's the dead chicane. Usually people don't have good thoughts about this one or just have very bad experience, but either way I decided to give this one a go and I took this BMW M6 for a spin. I know a lot of times we're set with the GR Supra. As you can see, most of this lobby was GR Supras, maybe a couple of other cars. I think the leader had also the BMW, but my first race, without too much practice, I started in P16 and I really wanted to make the most out of it, you know, just having a little bit of fun as usual. And I mean, I tried to go for a move in this first one. It really didn't seem to be like kind of a good choice in my opinion. I mean, I was on the inside of that chicane, he had the slipstream and of course the Supra, so I decided to kind of back out a little bit. You know, it's always good to give yourself a little bit of that extra space, which seems to be right until I crashed into the car in front of me and then just the guy behind me crashed into me. So yeah, that chicane at its finest, and I mean, I didn't really want to rage quit this one, so I decided to carry on and eventually got the fastest lap of the race, which was interesting because I was literally dead last P16. I mean, nothing much that you can do from this point. I mean, either way, I decided to carry on, and there were a couple of yellow flags, which usually happens. So, I mean, one guy rage quitted, this was one yellow flag, this was second yellow flag, and all of a sudden I'm in P13, but the race is pretty short, about 4 laps. I think it should be like 6. But either way, one more yellow flag as usual. Nothing, yeah, I don't want to call it, but it's becoming a thing on this track, and you can see just a lot of people making mistakes, and somehow I finished the race in P11, which was much better from P16 and literally finishing dead last, but it's not really something that I wanted to get out of this one. So I decided to give this one more shot from P16. I thought, okay, maybe there was some bad luck from my, I would say from my end, but you know, it's always difficult to judge when you're having that chicane and all of the other guys around you. So yeah, why not? Let's give this one a go. Once again, I'm taking the BMW because I think it's kind of a good one. Okay, one place up. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna give this one a little bit of kind of an easier approach. I don't want to push it too much. So let's back out a little bit. I don't want to get into the dead chicane like all in. And that seemed to be kind of an okay strategy for the most out of it, and seems to be like a pretty clean race so far. Only one crash, and then I broke later than I actually expected. I thought the guy had some more space. One guy went a little bit too wide. I crashed into him, and all of a sudden I'm getting a 3-second penalty for colliding with another car. And I don't know what to think about it, but I think this was actually a little bit on my end. This was kind of my fault, to be honest. I should have given him a little bit more space and should have been more careful, but I guess you never really know what the people are gonna do. So yeah, let's keep on racing. We're not gonna rage quit because I don't usually rage quit, and I just decided to kind of go for a couple of moves here. I kind of carried on. I really didn't want to spend too much time think about my past mistakes. You know, you just move on and, you know, just get the most out of the race. And eventually I got this one place. I mean, it wasn't really like the easiest place that I ever made in my life, but you know, once it's not easy to go for a move on this track. I mean, you really need to take, I mean, it's hard to judge everyone's movements, and especially with a couple of sharper corners on this track. And this corner, it's kind of easy, but at the same time it's kind of hard because you can get a lot of wheel spin, and eventually most of the circuit is actually flat out, so you only got a couple of braking points and there are only a couple of possible overtaking spots. So once again I decided to give this one a little bit of kind of an easier approach. But look at this guy. I tried to slow down the footage as much as I possibly could, and I thought he was not going to crash, but he just bounced off. Like, I don't know, it's that chicane at its finest. I think he had a bit more space, maybe it was lag, but you know, I carried on. This was one place, and this guy just tried to, I don't know what he tried to do, but he was just braking in the middle of the turn. Usually this one is like an easy, I wouldn't say like an easy flat out, you just have to lift before the turn and then it's flat out. But here I'm on the outside, not the best place to be, honestly. And I got, yeah, I don't know what to say about this one. I got a little bit pushed wide, but you know, P12, we are not really thinking about going for a win here. And I thought to myself, okay, I just want to finish this one and move on, really focus on the next thing, and we're just gonna be forgetting about these two races, and that's pretty much what was in my books on this one. So yeah, a couple of other guys making mistakes, we got a couple of penalties, and somehow, I don't know how I managed to get into P9, and I was in the slipstream, and all of a sudden I'm finishing the race in P9. I mean, I thought to myself, I'm pretty much gonna end up dead last as I did in the previous one, but it seemed to be like, let's say, a decent race after all of that. But then I really decided to spend some time in the qualifying, finishing, I think it was a 37.8 or 37.7, not like the greatest qualifying position, but I mean, it was okay to start in this one in P2, and I actually thought, okay, this one is the one. We are actually gonna have some good racing, and Luna in front was really quick. I mean, I had kind of a hard time following, and this, especially in the dead chicane, you think, okay, you're in the slipstream, you're gonna benefit from the slipstream, but in this area you don't have a lot of visibility, and it's just super easy to make a mistake, and especially this part, I mean, you're carrying a little bit more speed, and it's hard to judge this corner, and even if you just make the slightest mistake, you're just losing like 2 to 3 tenths. It's easy as that. So nothing really happened for that one lap, and just as I said before, I mean, I kind of tried to carry on, didn't do many mistakes. I mean, the gap was about half a second, and then he just didn't really hit the apex about right. I hit the apex just about right, and then the gap is going down. Now got about less than 4 tenths, and I'm in the slipstream. So if I can stay here, I have a good possibility of making a move on the straight. So I have to stay behind him, which is not usually the easiest thing to do, especially in this section. But I hit all of the curbs just about right, and especially this one, you really need to hit this one kind of in the perfect angle. You need to step on the curb and put the power down to get that extra rotation. But, you know, it was actually looking pretty good. And once again, he made that little mistake, and you can see that, like, the little mistake can mean such a huge difference, and all of a sudden the gap went down from like half a second to not even a tenth. So I just tried to show him that I'm kind of there. I didn't really want to go for a move. I just wanted to position my car a little bit better for this one, because this is honestly the best overtaking spot on this track. I mean, I would say it's the kind of the only clean one that you can make. Maybe there are 2, but okay, I just made a move right here. I mean, I had a little bit better exit, and all of a sudden he was chasing me. I mean, it's time to defend right now. It's just from attacking going to defending, and here he kind of got a better exit than I did, but also he was really aware from, I would say, from what are the consequences of actually staying on the inside of this turn and going too wide into the chicane. So he decided to kind of pull out of the situation, and we were all clean through the dead chicane, which is, in my opinion, which is one of the best things you can do around here. Just let the guy go. And once again, I think he overshot his braking point, and just a little bit of that mistake meant that he was gonna lose it. And yeah, you can see he's kind of giving me a little bit more space, and I kind of appreciate that stuff, because it's not easy to lose a place like this or just get it off. But then he missed his braking point, and instead of crashing into me, he actually went off the track and crashed his car. So I don't know, yeah, not a lot of people would do that, and sacrificing their own race for not destroying my race at the same time. So yeah, if you're watching this, I do appreciate that stuff, even though he kind of fell back into P4, but somehow in the end managed to get into P3. Yeah, I think that was the highlight of my race here, because you don't see moves like that, or just people getting such a kind of, I would say, ethical behavior in GT7. So it was, you know, it was definitely a plus in my books. But I really hope you enjoyed in this one, and my advice is always qualify in this race. You really want to spend as much time as you possibly can in the qualifying, and only then race. But yeah, once again, as I said before, if you enjoyed, you can click a like, you can subscribe, and that's about it. Until the next time, bye.